Welcome to Solve It Like a Marketer. I'm Stephen Hobey. Today I'll be exploring what are the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. If you like this video, please subscribe and don't go away. Now, the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted by the United Nations in 2015. Now, these are a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. Now, they also provide a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. At its heart, there are 17 of these goals, and these state an urgent call for action by all countries in a global partnership. Today, the Division for Sustainable Development Goals, also known as DSDG, in the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, provides support and capacity building for the SDGs and their related thematic issues. Now, this includes water, energy, climate, oceans, urbanization, transport, science, and technology. DSDG plays a key role in the evaluation of UN system-wide implementation of the 2030 Agenda and on advocacy and outreach of the SDGs in order to make the 2030 Agenda a reality. Broad ownership of the SDGs must translate into a strong commitment by all stakeholders. Now, the DSDG aims to help facilitate this engagement, ending poverty and other deprivations that must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and encourage economic growth, all the while tackling climate change. Now, another approach is that the 17 SDGs are what we call integrated, and this means they recognize that action in one area will actually affect others, and that development must be balanced. Social, economic, environment, all go hand in hand. And with under 10 years left, world leaders have called for a decade of action, so 2020 to 2030, and pledged to mobilize financing, enhance national implementation, and strengthen institutions. So the aim being to achieve these goals by the target date of 2030. Now, this approach is actually focused on three different levels. First is global action to secure greater leadership, so taking into account more resources and smarter solutions for the SDGs. Next, local action, so embedding the needed transitions in policies, budgets, institutions, and regulatory frameworks in governments, cities, and local authorities. And finally, people action. So this includes youth, civil society, the media, the private sector, unions, academia, and other stakeholders. Now, at the core of this decade is the need for action to tackle growing poverty, empowering women and girls, and address the climate emergency. So more people around the world are living, granted, better lives compared to a decade ago. More people have access to better healthcare, decent work, and education, but inequalities and climate change are still threatening to undo these gains. So investment in inclusive and sustainable economies is really paramount, and the political, technological, and financial solutions are within reach. But much greater leadership and rapid, unprecedented changes are needed in order to align these levers of change with sustainable development objectives. So how do these relate to you? Well, here are a few tips to follow for implementing the SDGs within your organization. Education and awareness raising. So raise awareness of the SDGs as a whole. So as well as educate groups about the importance of the SDGs. Now, this can be done through your social media, website, blogs, newsletters. Next, translate UN speak into everyday language. So like most organizations, the UN has lots of jargon and acronyms. So this can really be quite a turnoff, especially if English isn't your first language. So it's important that you aim to communicate the SDGs in everyday language that people can understand. Next is collaboration. So collaboration is paramount to realizing these SDG goals. So as individuals, organizations, and communities, we really can collaborate and work together. The more voices, the better, each bringing their own unique perspective and expertise. Adopting the SDG framework. So both for-profits, non-profits can adopt this framework. And this means aligning aspects of your company to the goals. So again, as well as using language that people can relate to. Recognize diversity. This one is really key. So even within one geographical area, there may be many diverse communities, from low income to high income. So it's important that everyone is really given a voice. Motivate youth. Now, youth are gaining a stronger and stronger voice when it comes to equality and climate action. They have the power to champion the SDGs in their own way, thereby harnessing and engaging with different populations. Focus on local communities. So it's vital that local, regional, and global policymaking is incorporated in local communities, and this includes vulnerable groups. We should actively be doing community outreach, consulting with all aspects of our communities so that our solutions reflect the reality on the ground. Now, more and more businesses are seeing the potential of a sustainable business model, and this is being driven both by the firm belief that business can be a force for good and by the realization that the cost of inaction often exceeds the cost of action. So sustainability is no longer a niche issue. Consumers in both emerging and developed markets are demanding more from companies. Unfortunately, we're still not really seeing the scale and speed that we need to effect change now. So for many companies, the focus still tends to be on corporate social responsibility rather than embedding sustainability into the very DNA of the company. It's almost like paying lip service. So in essence, companies, governments, communities need to be working in tandem. So communities should continue applying pressure on governments. Governments need to present more incentives for companies to change, and companies need to be open to that change. So it all works together. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button and please share so that other people can enjoy my videos. You can also catch me on Instagram and Facebook for extra content and you never miss an episode, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Those links are below. I will see you every week with a new video, so please stay tuned and together, let's solve it like a marketer.